Hey guys, it's me, Mayana from Little Wolf Reads. I don't like how low this English, but that's fine. That's okay. Today, I'm going to be doing all of my to-be-read books that I own on my bookshelf. Because I went through all the books that I need to read that I don't even own. We'll be here forever. So I'm going to do this in a way where I go through each shelf and I just pick out the books and I show you the books that I need to read. And yeah, I'm not gonna do much talking for once because I kind of just need to get through it because we have a lot of books. Okay, so starting with my shelf at the very top, I need to read A Darker Shade of Magic by V. Schwab, Scythe and Thunderhead, which I know that my best friend Angel, she doesn't have a booktube, but she has a Twitter, Angel Cake Reads. She loves Scythe, and I own this one, and she literally bought this one because she wants me to read it. But I want to read Daughter of the Pirate King, which is another one of my besties' faves. This is Jake from Jake Does Books' favorite book. I'm really in like a piratey mood, and this book seems actually very quick, so I could like fly through this low-key. So I need to pick up this soon. Emergency Contact, which is my sister's favorite book. My sister read this book and she absolutely loved it, so I'm going to give it a try as well. The Sun is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. She wrote Everything, and I love that book. I tried to pick this one up. I know it's Insta-Love and I just can't, personally, I can't do Insta-Love. So Siege and Storm and Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. I actually read Shadow and Bone and I really liked it, to be honest. I just haven't picked these up because I know that these books are bad. Like, I know people don't like the series at all, so I've been like slowly picking it up. I've actually been reading this, but I've been slowly getting through it because I actually was really bored. Frostblood, which I don't know, I know this is like a basic fantasy and I started listening to the audiobook, but I'm just not in a basic fantasy mood at the moment. Like, you know, I know it's like a lost somebody and they have to save a kingdom, and like that's cool and all, but I'm just not in the mood for like basic. Vengeful by V. Schwab. I read Vicious and I gave it 4 stars and I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I expected. Like I thought it was gonna be a 5-star. I thought it was gonna be like my new favorite book of all time, but I just didn't enjoy it. Like I didn't enjoy Vicious as much as I wanted to, and I actually did start reading Vengeful and I started tabbing it, but I just stopped because I got bored. I want you guys to notice how many books on this shelf I've actually read, because this is pathetic. My God, this is pathetic. Anyways, so I need to read the Modern Fairy Tales by Holly Black. My best friend Angel also got me this book, so it makes it so much more special. Ever the Haunted, because I remember when I first, like, everyone was always talking about this book before I started booktube, and it just sounded, first of all, the cover is so beautiful. The cover is so beautiful, and like I remember like a lot of people didn't like this book, like the booktubers that I watched, but I just loved the premise and the idea of it. Monday's Not Coming, my sister read this and she told me everything that happened in it, so I know what happens in the end and stuff. But I mean, I still do want to read this eventually. It's just gonna take me a lot longer to get to. Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I got this really cute edition of it too, but I just don't want to read this because I find Rainbow Rowell's books extremely boring. Like, she never has any plot or anything. Like, they're just so boring. We Are the Ants, which my sister read and she did not like it, so I'm kind of just like iffy about trying it out. When the Sky Fell in Splendor, this is actually going to be like a really quick read. I started reading this, but then I stopped reading it, which is something you'll find with most of the books I have on my bookshelf. Study in Charlotte, which is Rocky from A Blonde with the Book's favorite book, and I want to read this, but I know it's like a contemporary and it's a mystery, and I don't know, from what everyone else makes it sound like, it seems like it's very repetitive in a way, and I just don't like repetitiveness. Like, I just don't like, yeah, I don't like repetitiveness. Unhooked, which is a Peter Pan retelling. I honestly can't even tell you guys why I haven't gotten to this book yet. To Kill a Kingdom, which I really want to get to soon because it's a Little Mermaid retelling and I love the Little Mermaid. Aurora Rising, which I'm actually currently reading and I'm really enjoying this. I really like the sci-fi aspect of it. A lot of people, and like literally nothing is going on. Like, I'm in the first couple of chapters. I'm like 100 pages into this book and it's 300 pages and I'm just loving it. Like, I like the characters. There's one character that is like my fave so far. I forgot his name because I haven't read it in like 3 weeks, but I need to hurry up and finish this book because I love this cover. Y'all know I love Charlie Bowater. If I don't talk about Charlie Bowater in a video, is it really a video by me? You know, This book isn't on this shelf, but I pulled it out because this is my sister book and I want to talk about it. A Sorcery of Thorns by, and I really want to, I'm currently reading this right now. It's a Charlie Blue cover, as y'all know, and I haven't really gotten far into it, but like everybody loves it, so I'm ready to get further. So we're actually onto my next shelf, and this shelf is nowhere near as bad as that shelf was. So we have The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. I bought it because I was in like a, first of all, I thought this book was about a werewolf, and it turns out this book is actually about a vampire. So I've been tricked. I am more of a werewolf girl, like where we don't have like a lot of werewolf stories. Like, you know, I do want to give like the Vampire Crave a try because I was not a part of Vampire Crave because I don't care about vampires. But I do want to give the books a try because the most iconic books are vampire books. But I'm just not, like, I don't know, I'm just not in the mood to read this for some reason. The Darkest Part of the Forest by also Holly Black. And I started to read this. As you can see, I was actually annotating this. Which annotating a book with deckled edges is actually harder than it looks. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I started to annotate this and I got pretty far, but then I remember I was supposed to be reading this with someone and I was waiting for them to get the book, and then by the time they got the book, I just didn't care about reading it anymore. Nevernight and God's Grace. I also have Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Yes, surprisingly, I have read Sister Crows. People always ask me, man, have you read Sister Crows? I did. I just didn't care about it. Okay, so I finally, one, changed my camera angle, and two, got into the bottom shelf down here. No, I have not read the Game of Thrones series. I just decided that I don't want to read this series anymore and I actually want to get rid of my books. So, and there's too many books to pick up anyway, so I'm not going to pick those up. But I have not read The Diviner by Liver Bread. This is one of the books that I know I'm going to stand. But for me, I'm a weird reader, and books that I know I'm going to like, I tend to like not, I don't want to say not pick up, but I tend to like lean away from books that I know I'm gonna like for some odd reason, and I took forever to pick them up. The same with The Poppy War, but this is, I read like the first page when I was out at Barnes & Noble with Jake, and I loved it. So as soon as I got some money, I bought it, and then I tried to pick it up, and I was looking through like the first chapter, and I was like, oh, this is too many pages in a chapter, and I just never picked it back up again. I'm that kind of reader. Name of the Wind, which I was really into. I like the edition that I have, and I was really into reading it at the time, but now I'm kind of just like, it's not that I'm not interested in reading it, I'm just, it's like lower on my book of like interest. Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, which is another Charlie Blowater cover. I need to get to this before the second one comes out because the second cover is also extremely beautiful. So Carabao, which I sprayed the edges to this. A lot of people have been talking about this lately because the last book finale finally came out, and so I really want to read this. But the more people talk about it, the more the series just seems bland to me. Like, you know, I don't know what it is, but Muse of Nightmares, because yes, I have read Stranger Dreamer and I liked it, so I want to move on to Muse of Nightmares. I liked Stranger Dreamer. I gave it like 3 stars, which is like, oh my god, she gave it 3 stars. Like, I know, probably like the only person in the world who's gave it 3 stars, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as everybody else did, and that's okay. But I know a lot of people who didn't like, who liked Stranger Dreamer, they end up loving Muse of Nightmare more, if that makes sense. And the last book I have on this list is Diary of the Orange Tree. You would think that I don't pick up this book because it's intimidating and big. No, the reason I haven't picked up this book is because I painted the edges and now all the pages are stuck together. So the last set of books on this bookshelf over here come from the books on my very bottom, which are just like usually paperbacks or larger books that won't fit on, like, that won't fit with any other books that I own. So the first book I have is Joyride by Stephen King. I started reading Dorothy Must Die, and I thought it was going to be like one of my favorite books, but it was just one of those books where I started reading it and then I put it back down, and like I never picked it back up again. My Best Friend's Exorcism, I actually read another book by this exact same author called Horrorstör, and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And my sister read this book and she didn't really like it. She didn't like how like it was, she didn't like how the author wrote girls and how she made them talk. But I don't know, I know that Jess from Jess Reads Books like loved this book but hated Horrorstör, or I don't know if she actually even read Horrorstör. I don't remember, but I know she loved it. The Shadow Queen, which is like a Snow White retelling. I bought this book for used and it came without a dust jacket, and I was so upset that I didn't even want to read it, to be honest. I want to get a new cover of it, but look, it's so beautiful. I love the map. I really want to read this book first though before I buy another one, because what if I read this book and I don't care about it and then I have 2 copies of a book that I don't care about. Night Film is one of those books that I picked up and then I never picked up again because I just wasn't interested in reading it. I don't know why. It just I don't want to say it was hard to get into. It was just very boring in the beginning and I didn't care, so I just didn't pick it up. Welcome to Night Vale. A lot of people don't know this, but one of my favorite podcasts in the world is Night Vale. Like, I just love that podcast so much, and it was actually introduced to me by Cece. I used to love, like, I still love watching her videos, but I remember she talked about it in one of her videos and I started watching it because of her, and now it's like it's the only podcast I will actually ever listen to. Like, I like listening to podcasts, but when they have a purpose and it's the podcast that like I will listen to. But I haven't been listening to it recently because when I listen to podcasts, like when I listen to Welcome to Night Vale, I want to focus all of my attention on it. And y'all know, like, if you know me, you know that I can't focus my attention on one thing for very long. And so I have this book, and I also have the books where you can read them, like you can read the volumes. I just haven't been in the mood to read them. My sister like loves them and she's read them. But if you don't know what Night Vale is, it's a podcast and it's set in like this fictional place called Night Vale, and you're listening to this radio station essentially, and it's like the radio station for Night Vale. They do like weather, like they do like a weather report at the end, like they just talk about like the weird stuff that goes on in this town. Like it's just so good because it's like you're in this town and it's like he's actually like talking to you, like you're listening to it on your drive to work or something. Like, I love Night Vale so much. I actually need to get into listening to it more because I haven't gotten that far in it. But they have a book and I haven't read it yet, but I'm very intrigued. I also have Dark Matter, which is a book that everyone like talked about before I joined BookTube, and so I was very like interested in reading it. And I ordered it from Better World Books or something, and they never sent me my copy of it even though I ordered it, and I was so sad that I'm never using that website ever again because they scammed me. But that's neither here nor there. So I finally like bought this book, and I don't know why I haven't gotten into it. I haven't been in like a mystery thriller mood lately for some odd reason, even though I kind of am starting to get into one now. Girls Made of Glass and Snow, which I want to read this because it was like a Snow White retelling. It was like Snow White and like the evil queen, and it sounded very intriguing, but I just haven't been in the mood to read it for some reason lately. So I am now moving on to this shelf over here at the very top, and I have not read the Harry Potter books that I own. First of all, these are paperbacks and I really want to get these, so I just like said what the heck and bought them, but I just don't want these, so I think I'm gonna reorder hardbacks in the same edition and like reread those, and like not reread, and I think I'm gonna read from those soon. Yes, I've never read Harry Potter. So as you can see, I moved on to this shelf here, and to just start off, I have not read Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, or Lady Midnight, Fallen Kingdom, and Rebel Spring. I know this is like a basic fantasy with like a lot of tea and a lot of drama, but for some odd reason I just haven't been in the mood to read these. I really love the covers to these. Like, I love these covers. I have Into the Water, which I just haven't been in a mystery thriller mood lately, and I bought these because I know that when I do get into them, I'm gonna like want to binge, and I'm going to want to pick this one up. And I haven't read Pretty Girls because of the same reason. I know one of my favorite booktubers, Elias, like loves this book, so I picked this book up solely for him, basically. I have not read Shadow of the Fox. I just haven't been in the mood to read it. Wonder Woman, nor have I read Catwoman. I do want to read these eventually. I just haven't been in the mood. And last but not least, I have not read The Last of Masara. I was in the mood to read this. I picked it up, I put it down, never picked back up again. Okay, so I finally moved on to this shelf here, and you can see that y'all, what do I be reading? I really don't know. So I haven't read Pet Sematary by Stephen King, which Jamie from Leah Reads actually got this for me, and I wanted to read this for the movie before it came out and then go see the movie, but I actually didn't read it in time. And then my sister went to go see the movie and she didn't really like the movie, so I've kind of been pushing this book back, but I do actually want to get to it because it's like the shortest Stephen King book that I own besides Joyland. I have yet to read It by Stephen King. Well, I've been reading it, but I haven't finished it yet. Like, it's been taking me so long to get to this, like get through this, and now I really don't even know if I want to finish it. Like, I don't know, I want to finish it before the movie comes out in September, so I'm gonna have to read this in August. And also have The Outsider by Stephen King, and I do want to read this just because the premise of this sounds really good. I wanted the red edition of this book, but I mean, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna like this, so I'm gonna hold off on getting that. A Court of Thorns and Roses or A Court of Mist and Fury yet, but you guys already knew that I'm gonna be reading it for this month or for the reading rush. I'm trying to get through the other Sarah J Maas books. I'm trying to get through Tower of Dawn, Empire of Storms, and Kingdom of Ash. But yeah, I also haven't finished reading Cress or Winter. I need to actually just reread Cress as a whole because I was like 90% through it, but I literally was not paying attention throughout this whole book. Like, I cannot tell you what happens in this book at all, besides I think they meet Winter in this book, but that could have also happened in Scarlet, so who knows. But I also finally want to read Winter. Lastly, I have more Marissa Meyer books. Yep, haven't read Renegades, Arch Enemies, or Heartless, but you guys already knew that. Moving down to my black bookshelf down here, I have not read Twilight, don't be fooled, but I also plan on unhauling those books when I get more black books to replace them, but until then they're gonna stay there. I haven't read Before She Ignites, which Melanie gave to me. I love her so. Sometimes when she unhauls books, she just like sends them to me and I take them because usually they're books that I'm actually quite interested in, but this one is about dragons and also has a black girl on the cover, so I do want to read this, but I just haven't been in a dragon mood lately. I don't know why. Kill the Boy Band, which is something I've really been wanting to read. I know it's like an old, like popular book, but I do want to give this book a try. It's a really quick book too, but like I said, I haven't been in like a thriller mood lately, so yeah. I know this book is supposed to be satire, but After the Fire, which I know is a book basically about cults, and there was a time when I had like a cult idea for a book, but I couldn't come up with a plot, so I figured reading this would like help me out a lot. And plus I know that this is like a mystery thriller kind of book too, and like I said, I haven't been in a mystery thriller mood, but I do want to give this book a try. And I also want to read Control, which was when I first started watching booktube. Like, Elias was kind of the only booktuber that I like watched like consistently, which I mean I still do, but like literally any book he recommended I would like buy it. And I don't even remember what this book was about, but it looks very cool and I do want to read it. I want to read Save the Date. This is like the only Morgan Matson book that I actually am like slightly intrigued in, but I don't even know if I want to read this anymore because Jake from Jake Does Books didn't like this, so maybe I'll unhaul it. I don't know, but I just think it's so cool. Like, it has like a drawing on the inside. There's another person behind it, but yeah. Ash Princess, I haven't been in a mood for typical fantasy where like the princess loses her kingdom and she has to fight to get it back. I just don't really care about it. I also haven't read The Hazelwood, mainly because of all the bad comments that it's been getting lately, so I just don't want to read it, but I need to give it a try soon. I do want to read Dread Nation, but every time I pick it up I just end up putting it back down. Like, I don't even start it. I just pick it up, put it on my bedside, which is where I keep all the books that I plan on picking up, and I just don't pick it up. And Everlist, which I mean, I know Jake really liked this book, so I do want to give it a try, but I just haven't been in the mood to read it lately. Okay, so last but definitely not least, we finally moved on to the very bottom of my bookshelf, which is the final bookshelf, and whew, never thought I would see the day that we would be here, guys. Like, never thought. Voices, and I don't even know what this is about. I just know that this is a Charlie Bowater cover, like, and so I want to read it. That's literally it. But luckily I have the ARC, so I didn't have to buy it. Oh, this seems like a very quick read. Like, flipping through the book, like, this is a very, I don't know, this actually seems really cool. So maybe I will pick up this book. This will be a quick read too. I'm about to put this on my bedside so I can read this. You have this book, Wicked Like Wildfire. I have no idea what this book is about. These are books that Melanie sent me. Like I said, sometimes when she's unhauling books, she just sends them to me, and I don't mind because I really enjoy them. And I don't remember what this book is about, but I love the cover, so I do want to read it. We have Queen of Hearts, which is a what is the queen from what is the queen from Alice in Wonderland called? What's her name? I don't remember, but this is a retelling. And I love the covers for these. I think they're so beautiful. So I do want to get to this eventually. I don't know, I keep putting it off. I think now because I've moved it from my whites on my white bookshelf and I put it on the bottom, that I'm not say I'm less likely to read them, but I kind of am because I keep forgetting that it's down there. But the back is so cute. Like they have like the hats and the teacups. Like, oh, I love it. I can't wait to get to this. Then we have Warcross, which was a buddy read that I was supposed to do, that I did with like Serenity like literally a year ago, and I never finished it. There's nothing wrong with this book. I don't want to say I was uninterested, but I wasn't interested. I still have, literally guys, I do this thing where I use my tabs as bookmarks. Like, I will literally stick them in the book, and then I'll run out of tabs and I'll be like, where the heck is all of my tabs going? I know I'm not using them. And I'm not using them, but I'm using them as bookmarks. And I literally have not picked this book up since September last year. And I had this in there as a bookmark. I really need to start investing in bookmarks. It's like, why would I want to pay for a bookmark? The only kind of bookmarks I would ever pay for is the magnetic ones. But besides that, like, why would I pay for a bookmark? Enchante, which this is an arc that I have. I do want to get like the actual like physical copy of it. Maybe I'll get it. I do want to start my book of the month collection, so maybe when I start getting the book of the month, I'll have this as like an add-on. Like I'll have Enchante as an add-on. But I don't know, I was supposed to read this for a book club that I started, and then I never did. This is Never Contended Things, and this is by the same author who wrote, she wrote some popular books like Vasa and the Night or something like that. I don't know, Night Circus, one of those, I don't remember. But it's supposed to be like The Cruel Prince, and I do want to read this, but I hear it has incest, so I'm not sure if I want to read this. And I almost picked this as my book pick. I do have a book club called Fairy Like Book Club, where we read books that have to do with fairies or mythical creatures in general. And I almost picked this. And that would have been really embarrassing because I don't remember if it's about, like, I don't know if it has incest in it or not, and I don't want to have people read this and they're like, man, what the heck. Okay, so then I have Creek Kill, which is a thriller, and it's said about these authors who like go to this house and like there's like, they all write like some sort of like thriller, and I do want to read this because it just seems so interesting. And I actually seen a movie like this once, and it was a movie about this group of people who were in this horror movie, and they get invited to go back to like the movie they were in, and like they actually start getting killed off. I believe they were in a horror movie or they were famous or something of that nature. But yeah, it kind of reminded me a lot of that, and so I do want to read this. Then I have The Crucible, which, if you guys don't know, this is one of my favorite classics, and I do want to collect more of the Penguin classic books. Like, this is just it's so tiny and so cute. Oh my gosh, this was $15. Anyways, yeah, I love The Crucible. I've been scared to read it though because I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it or not. Like, I remember, like, I read it when I was in the 10th grade, and I remember loving it so much. Like, I've always been intrigued by like witches and stuff. Like, I still want to visit Salem, but I'm not sure if I'm going to like this or not, because like I don't want to taint my memory of it. Like, I remember I love Lord of the Flies, and I don't want to reread it because I don't know if I'll hate it or not. Like, you know, it's one of those kind of things. So I believe this is The Room. This is upside down. Yeah, it's The Room, about that girl who like is kidnapped and she ends up having a baby, and it's like told from the baby's perspective. And I do want to read this, but it doesn't have a cover to it. This was a cover buy, and I bought this used, and it didn't come with a cover. So we have The Last Magician, which I got this book because when my store Charlotte Russe was closing, like the assistant manager and like she got us all gifts, and I really didn't think that she got me one because I really didn't talk to people much when I worked there, and I didn't even know that she knew that I love to read. Like, I still want to figure out she knew that, but she got me this. And this is actually a book that was on my wish list in general, so I do want to read this, but I'm terrible at reading paperbacks, so hopefully I do read this, and then if I like it, I'll buy it in hardback. Like, I do think I feel like I'm gonna love this, especially because I love the title of the second book. Then we have Paper Princess, which is a trash new adult book that everyone loves. Like, everyone knows it's trash, and that's why people love it, because it's like so terrible. And the more I talk about this book, the more I'm actually in the mood to read it, where it's about this girl who lives she lives with these guys, and she's like a stripper, and it's like she lives like this house full of like there's like a big family of boys. And I don't know if I talk about this a lot, but one of my favorite Wattpad tropes would be like where the girl would live in like a room, like she would live in like a house full of guys, or she would live next door to a house full of guys. Actually, if you guys want to see a video on my favorite like tropes I used to read on Wattpad, like back before like fan fiction started coming in, when Wattpad was just like for authors to post like their books just for fun, before it like changed a lot. If you guys want to know like what I love to read on Wattpad, I would not mind like giving you a list. Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. And I know I talked about her on like my author video, or I talked about like, I don't remember what the title was, but I remember talking about her. And she is trash, but she didn't do anything problematic, like, you know. And I'm sorry, but her covers and her titles are just so good. Like, I can't not read this. Like, her second book is literally called Ruthless Gods. Like, oh my god, like, that's literally, and it's so beautiful. Like, she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing. So I really need to read this before the second book comes out. I think I'm going to get if I do end up liking this, because I am going to read like this version, I am going to get a book of the month edition of this book. I don't know, and it says Let Them Fear Her. Like, I know the author is trash, like I know it, but I also know that once I get into this book, I'm probably gonna like it. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like it because it was like one of those books that like tries too hard to be good. But Ian from Bibliosquire loves this, and Ian is one of my good friends, and we pretty much like the same things essentially. So I trust him. So yeah, our final book of the day is The Masked Truth by Kelly Armstrong. So Carrie from Carrie the Book Bell got me this book, and she also got Jake, my best friend, this book as well, and he read it and he didn't really like it. So I've been kind of pushing it off because I don't know, me and Jake, we don't even have like the same reading taste. Like, we'll read the same book and I'll give it like 3 stars and he'll give it like 4 or 5, but usually we both don't like the same things, if that makes sense. Like, we buddy read You and neither one of us liked it. So I don't know, I've kind of been like like, you know, I don't know, but I do want to read it for Carrie because I know she loves Kelly Armstrong. But yeah, so that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed. I know this video is probably going to be super long, but I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know like what books you would like to see me read, but don't like be like read this because the more you tell me to read something, the more I won't read it. That's just how I am. It's like the more, like, you know, when you're about to wash the dishes and then your mom is like, go wash the dishes, and then you don't feel like watching the dishes anymore. Like that's kind of like how I am with reading. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe to join the cult, and I'll see you guys next time.